All right. Oh, I don't know if I'll get this on the record properly, but here he's showing how to essentially do a mix of channels so that you obscure them. Sort of security by obscurity. The other problem I asked him about was the voting, and sort of at IIW, I figured a solution's more or less using a pool where everyone would throw a little leaf in the pool, let's say, and then we would use a meta contract to have the vote paid for by the out of the pool, so that you couldn't follow the money to find out what somebody's vote was. Or that somebody voted even.
Like a hash of the vote, sort of? I mean, is that what it would essentially be?
Well, in this case, using Greg's voting scheme, you were sending coin to an address.
Right.
Okay, to vote for that.
Yeah, I mean, the yes and the no would be essentially two different wallets.
In this case, yeah, it was an integer number, but it's like, yeah, well, you voted for something by sending it money, and obviously, yeah, we could. We don't have to have a unique address for each alternative we want to vote for. In which case, we can encrypt it. But
well,
the fact that somebody voted on an issue is even private. But,
right.
you don't want voting on an issue to reveal how much ETH you own, how many rocks you own. It's not so much.
Well, in other words,
it's decoupling that voting from your identity.
Yeah, so it can't be reverse engineered, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good point.
And
does a proxy play a role there?
Yes, absolutely. In my mind, okay, the meta contract is a feature of the proxy. I haven't really looked at that completely at the design that Uport has to accomplish it, or how it would be done on our chain exactly. I mean, it's a trick. I mean, but it reduces visibility. That's the bottom line. So what I didn't get was, if you notice my diagram of the layers, what I wanted was private chains, but in the activity, in the channel, in the team, and in the organization.
We can't really see that. Could you maybe take a picture of it and put into the document?
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
These should probably be turned into formal diagrams.
Right. Yeah.
So Jim, I mean, this was what you've been talking about here all came out of your sit down with Greg
Right.
to really essentially define what, well, first of all, his viewpoint, but in a larger sense, the direction of what we're going to be doing with this ebook. In other words, it's specific to certain goals, holochain goles, right?
Yeah, well, we have to find the synthesis between Greg's views and my views.
Okay.
And, this diagram, and I know it's there, but, these private chains up the level of the organization, whatever, or the team, it's whatever groups you are part of. There's the whole, there was a session at IIW on group privacy, and basically they came up with nothing. And I was unfortunately not able to attend it because that's what I'm working on within the social ledger is, allowing the group to expose what the individuals consent to expose.
Mm-hmm. But going back to the ebook and your viewpoint versus Greg's viewpoint, did you and Greg sort of reach a consensus that you would follow these both viewpoints in a kind of a parallel way here?
I think that's understood, sort of.
Okay, so going back to taxonomy and classes, what that speaks to is the ability to differentiate all of the nuances of identity. Okay, and so now that's a big that's a tall order, right? But we ought to, it comes down more to the granularity of what you actually come up with as to how nuanced it actually is, or how nuanced it actually has to be. But my point here is that the ebook will represent some part of whatever that taxonomy is. And my question to you, Jim, is that your viewpoint versus Greg's viewpoint would presumably fall within that taxonomy. Is that something you could?
Yeah, and we could basically show how Greg's math could be used to implement my model. Okay. The issue is really, do we really want everything on the public blockchain, or do we want peer-to-peer contracts?
Yeah, right.
And I think
we want absolute sovereignty versus
we need both. And Greg's focus is not on the peer-to-peer. It's on the
right. And your viewpoint is that when you use blockchain, you basically give up privacy.
Right. You put it on public ledger. Even Monero, which is the most private blockchain there is, you can be traced. Tor network can be you can be traced, and we don't want to be that vulnerable. um, it's coming on the top of the hour. Let's just go over what I'm doing, and obviously, number one here is the know yourself.
Mhm.
The and then we have, I guess, the single sign-on work, which step one is CAN board OAuth fix. And then the social ledger dashboard authentication. And this goes back to, you want to be able to go into the dashboard without having to go into Mattermost first. Now I have links directly into the dashboard.
From where?
Anywhere.
Okay. In other words, the portal.
I can't put a link to the dashboard now because it doesn't know who I am. It doesn't authenticate me.
Well, so you're saying make the dashboard the portal, basically.
Yeah, so I mean, you can
Log into your dashboard and then navigate to everywhere else from there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of the tiles on the dashboard are going to link into Mattermost, but the thing is, you didn't have to go to Mattermost and type /dig because people won't type /dig.
We're going to remedy that, Jim.
Yeah, well, this is how we remedy it. We make the dashboard accessible outside of Mattermost.
And this is the parity dashboard, or this is
No,
another dashboard?
the social ledger has no relation to crypto at this point.
Okay, so you're defining the dashboard as the social ledger.
Well, that's what it includes today. I mean, it will include Web3 pages, and it may not be parity. It may be parity.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it'll emerge. I mean, there's no reason it can't be done in the parity browser. We can do that, but we're waiting for them to complete another development cycle.
Right. But at this point, I mean, social ledger is a layer on the open source Mattermost programming, right?
It's very loosely coupled to Mattermost. We're going to do a Discord. We're going to interface it with Discord. So from Discord, you'll be able to do a /dig. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not really tied to Mattermost.
Huh. But right now, that's where it's being developed. So and you're saying,
but it just calls the URL. When I type /dig, it just calls dippydow.org
okay.
/diglife/webhooks/ledger.php.
Okay, so it's really acting more like a menu.
It's a bot. It's a bot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But you were saying that it's the social ledger is trying to be, or wants to be, or is becoming a dashboard, correct?
No. Yeah. Joachim developed the dashboard for the social ledger. Okay, and it's based on the a periodic table notion that's part of Mattermost.
Yeah, right, okay.
And it oh, right now I guess, is it Dig Y? I don't know why. Dig D, open dashboard. Okay, this probably opens the dashboard in the context of where I am. And hopefully this will display some tiles here. I don't know why it's not displaying any tiles. I may have to clear my cache. One of the problems when you upgrade the system, you have to clear your files in cache.
Hey, has anyone had problems with Discord essentially, because of it, how it comes up when you boot up your machine, freezing your machine? Has that ever happened to anybody?
I've had 2 freezes in the last month, but I have no idea what caused them. I am not running the Discord client on access Discord in the web browser.
You're doing it in the web browser, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know what the consensus is on the Windows app, but you're probably better off. You may be better off deleting the app.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to.
Less confusing, if nothing else. I do use the Mattermost app, and I'm sorry that I use it. I don't recommend it. I mean, there's something cool about it, but it's broken. For example, by click on a channel here, it doesn't open in the app, it opens in the browser. And if I look at the BYOID project, that's BY. Now I look at the social ledger channel. Hello. Oh, it drilled down into the activities in the social ledger channel. I can add a little commitment to the. I can do here what I can do in the from the /dict command pretty much. I can archive. I can delete. I can commit. If I click on the links, it takes me to whatever it's linked to. In this case, it takes me to a Mattermost channel. And it takes me in the browser, not in the app. And the nice thing about being in the browser is when I do get a web page open, and I took me to the root. But then after I've when I'm finished looking at this page, I can simply delete this, and I'm right back in the Mattermost. Just kill that tab. Go right back into Mattermost. It's very convenient. And of course, you can get the dashboard here. And it seems like it's kind of slow. But this isn't necessarily the only interface. This is just, one interface. The idea is that we want it from every interface. So that when we go into for example, what we want to do is integrate, and I think I interested Jake at the meeting some in working on this. But when we go to issues here, okay, Jake wrote the plugin. What? How come I don't see the plugin? The voting plugin he put in, where he put a vote button on the GitHub page. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah. You're looking for that issue?
No.
Are you looking for the
I'm
plug?
saying here, we want to put buttons here for the social ledger that go take you to the social ledger, take you to the dashboard or the Holochain chart, or so you can it links to the channel, creates links between the different tools. They're all part of the social ledger, all the tools we use.
Yeah.
And we want them to be integrated. Now, Canboard is probably what we're going to use, but our chain is paying, in essence, to do the interface to GitHub. But
Did you talk to Jake about that?
yeah, I think Jake, is willing to work on it. I hope, and and he make, if we get the, when we get the Canboard working, I think he'll help with that as well. But,
Okay.
it has a lot of integrations in Canboard. I just haven't looked at what we're going to do there yet.
Yeah.
We may not need a plug-in.
Yeah, it would be better if we didn't need a plug-in.
Yeah, if we don't need a browser plug-in, we'll be happy.
Yeah, because his GitHub voting plugin, it actually does a sort of JavaScript document write to insert those buttons, and
Yeah,
it's complicated. He had to go in there and change the column spans and things like that, all dynamically in JavaScript to get it all to fit.
with Canboard, we have a lot more control over the interface, and we can modify it,
Okay.
open source.
I can take a look at the Canboard stuff later and try to get that figured out.
Awesome.
I've actually, unfortunately, got to jump here in a couple minutes.
When do you want to get together?
Can you give me 2 hours? Maybe 3?
Yeah, 3 hours would be good. That's 3 o'clock New York time.
Yeah, it should be about noon my time.
Yeah.
Should I just reach out on the Mattermost? I'm not sure if I'm on.
Just join this channel.
Okay.
Yeah, we should make sure you're where you need to be.
Yeah, send me an invite. I don't think I'm on any of these Mattermost. The only one you've set me up on is the Divi one, unless that's just not showing up there.
Yeah, I had some trouble finding you actually.
Yeah, I think I'm only on your Divvy Mattermost. I don't know if I'm on any of the other ones.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I know I added you to 2, but I forget
did you?
which
Okay.
ones. I
yeah. Well, here's the link to the social ledger document. Okay, near the beginning is invite links to all of the Mattermost that are in there, that are in the social ledger,
Okay.
including the main one, which is the same, you know. That should fix you up. Even if you just join the main one there, you're not in there. But we have a lab dig life team, which is sort of like where we all coordinate on social ledger development.
Okay, awesome.
And that's the first link.
Okay, cool. I will ping you on there in a couple hours.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for
And
joining. And
yeah, of course. We'll have some more to contribute and stuff last time. Kind of trying to get caught up and kind of where you guys are at. Just wanted to listen and sort of see, you know, where I can be helpful and where I can learn some more and be helpful.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, it's you know, you're filling a great void here.
okay. Well, that's the big shoes to fill. I'll do my best. And if anything, hopefully help figure out and make the void smaller at least.
Yeah, and hopefully you can coach some work studies.
Okay. I'll do my best on that. That's definitely not something that I've done a lot before. I mean, you pointed me towards that last time when I was helping you fix the SSL issue and wanted me to kind of walk through it. I hope to get better at doing that because I've never done that before that experience. So
Working together is a big part of what we're trying to do.
Well, and I'm all for that.
Work together.
Yeah, I'm all for that. It was very impromptu. I wasn't expecting to be video recorded fixing something. And so that was just, I wasn't used to that. But now I know to be aware that you're just going to start recording me at any time. So I will.
I can also stop recording at any time.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Famous last words.
It's like when Leah asked if this was being recorded, I should have turned it right off and said no. That's the right thing, or paused it.
Right. Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, I'll sing with you a little bit later. Nice to talk with Kendall and Kit and Leah there, of course. And I'll talk with you guys later.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. See
Great to
you.
meet you.
All right. Nice to meet you as well. Take care.
All right.
Ciao.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Jim, you know, I've got a bunch of stuff I have to take care of now, just having gotten back. I think I got a lot out of this meeting, and I've got a lot to, you know, get in
Yep.
and share and start developing, you know, some of the things that we're working on here. So
yeah, it's very hard to keep it straight. I mean, the more I think, the more I get confused.
well, I'm going to start working on the taxonomy. And I have a Google Doc that I'm using as to dump everything into, and you know, it's a personal only to me at this point, but I want to get it to the point where I can share it with the rest of the group now, and I can put it into the as a link in the document. Would that be the best way for everyone, or should it go into the GitHub, or should it go into both places, or what?
You know, my own feeling is, you know, we should all work in the one document. You know, just make it a separate section.
Okay, well, the one document being the Know Yourself document.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll put it in there as under the taxonomy note, and I'll put it in there as a link. But yeah. Okay.
Why don't you just make a separate section? of the document?
Under taxonomy.
Right. Oh, we have a taxonomy section? I didn't know.
No, it was
Not yet.
at the moment. It's just a note. So yeah, just we should.
Right.
The thing is, Kendall, this document.
Yeah, it can go anywhere really, and then hopefully somebody will move it to an appropriate place.
Just so you know the evolution of this document, Kendall, it started out at our meeting last week, we were going to come up with an outline, but we didn't do that at all. What we ended up doing was just mostly Patrick and I just took Jim's thoughts about this and you know, put it all down, got it all down. So it's
Got
just
it. Yeah.
it's not organized in any way yet, but we want to start organizing it.
No, I understand. And actually, I mean, I was the one who suggested an outline, but now what I'm really seeing is that with a taxonomy, that in effect is an outline.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an outline of what identity is, and then we can pick and choose the areas that we want to enlarge on, amplify, define better, purpose for the ebook, etc.
You know, maybe you should just put it at the top then.
Well, that's, yeah, okay. It's sort of,
Because, you know, we'll just use what's below it as material to fill in.
That sounds good. Yeah, let's start the sections at the top and then we'll copy and paste what needs to be there from down below. That sounds good.
okay. So if we do this, oh, wait a minute. Let me okay. Let me just edit. So if we do taxonomy, okay, and we could underline that and we could make it bigger. Whoops. Oh, okay, we could leave it at that. Yeah, because I mean, everything underneath falls into some area of the anticipated taxonomy. Does that make sense? Is that what you were saying, basically?
I think so. I guess I don't know.
Huh.
I'm not. I think we need to talk to Patrick really to get a clearer sense of.
Yeah, just put your stuff in here for now, and hopefully we'll get together with Patrick. I don't know what happened to him today.
Well, do we want that as a heading at the very top?
It's fine for now. Fine for
Okay.
I'm not sure that's the very top.
Okay.
I mean, first we have to tell him what we're going to tell him. Then we have to tell him. Then we have to tell him what we told him.
Yeah. Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, so if we're, well, you know, I think I'll get on to some other things, go spend a little time with my wife and, you know, kind of get back to being home again.
Yeah, I got my to-do list.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys, great hanging out with you. And yeah, I really got a lot out of this. I feel like I've got some real direction, something I can really dig into that, you know, fits my knowledge base.
Yeah, just remember to be flexible here, as we have a lot of, you know, you know, I think we'll come to consent on this eventually, but it may not be any of our preconceived notions of what it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the use case really that we're talking about here is an R-chain use case, and there are two parts to R-chain actually. There's the holding company, which relates, maybe this isn't the right term, but is oriented more towards practical applications, and whereas the co-op version is really more global.
Yeah, there's,
and organic.
Organizational identity management is what needs to be addressed there. It's not that there's really anything different or separate, but there's an added aspect of organizational identity management. And this goes with my hierarchy of identity management within an activity,
right?
A domain, and the organization is the fourth level. Okay, and that we have to, I guess, Ed's focus is on that organizational level, but it's really just a fractal of the levels below.
Explain that a little more.
Well, if you and I are involved in an activity, we become an organization. Right. We have the identity issues of what we expose to the outside world, right? And similarly, the R-chain cooperative is an organization that manages what it exposes to the outside world. Okay, that problem is the same. And in terms of the rules that we have as peer-to-peer are going to be different. I mean, they may say they must have a photograph of a person or other equivalent.
I think the key that I got out of what you just said is that the organization determines the organization essentially brings its own ID.
Right. Exactly. That's
yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, and that's although so then right. Now I'm asking myself, how does that so that's their persona, right?
Yeah.
I mean
it's their persona, but it's also their management. We manage our personal information all by ourselves. Okay, and nobody is subject to that. And the organization level, they have to organize their internal information, identity information, as well as what they expose.
I mean, you can take, like, okay, I get the fractal thing now. Is so let's say a bunch of different organizations bringing their personas to some trade organization. Okay, so you've got 2,000 businesses that are all, they have their identity, but they also have the persona that they're bringing to whatever that trade organization forum is, and they are working in an environment where identity is not so important as being, well, I guess identity, you'd want to have a sovereign identity for that business, let's say, to participate in the forum, because you would want to know that, in effect, that business is 21, right? Or that business is a member of that trade organization, but to create that environment where personas are deployed effectively and where people are really open to, carrying on these dialogues without having to incur any sort of stigma or anything else, right? That's really,
Yeah. And it's not a singular identity. It's an identity or persona with respect to every separate relationship.
Okay. Well, in other words, it not having to be defined as a sovereign identity.
No, it's a sovereign identity, but my relationship with you is different from Leah than my relationship with Leah. What I expose is maybe different. Certainly, when I took a shower at the motel, it would have been different in my relationship with Leah. So you'll have a decentralized identifier associated with every relationship you have, so that each one can be tailored to expose or not expose according to your rules. And you have one you have a relationship with the participants in an activity, within your teams, within whatever groups you're in. And these are the layers of this fractal.
Well, and those can be broken down into taxonomy, class. In other words, and I'm thinking in terms of, from a practical standpoint, with regard to a proxy, right? Your user agent, or the bot, whatever. As it becomes used more and more, these various permissions will fall into classes, right? So in other words, instead of having to create all of the permissions on a case-by-case basis, you can just say, oh, Jim, class 15, boom, and now all those permissions are there for that individual, and
it's role-based. Role-based access is, I guess, what it's commonly called, but usually that's associated with the organization, whereas we're in the self-sovereign identities, we're using UMA and role-based.
Well, I mean, if you
permissions from our perspective, who are our close friends? Okay.
Yeah.
There are certain things we share with the group that we call close friends.
Right.
Members of our chain is another group, or well,
there are certain things that are not shared if you're part of the our chain group, let's say. But each group, it's more about things that you don't share rather than things that you do share, maybe.
Well, yeah, and it's also purposeful transparency. Exposing too much information often causes more problems than it solves.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's good to have private meetings as well as public meetings, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That goes back to the old good enough, not perfect, just good enough.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna head out here. So great to see everyone. And
let's see what we'll see. Take it easy, Kendall.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that seems good for today.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Kendall, he kind of dashed out the door there, but what he was quoting is actually done is better than perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll plant that next time I see him.
I think he might have been confusing that or conflating it with the don't let the great be the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's the sociocratic principle that something is safe enough to try, which is the other side of it.
Yeah.
um,
When did you get back, Jim?
about midnight.
Okay. Well, you must have a to-do list.
Yeah. So I was on the road from, I guess, 8 a.m. in Seattle to midnight in Brooksville.
Right.
Actually, 8 a.m. in Redmond.
Cool.
So I spent a couple days with Ed, and there's actually a very important point here that I didn't record. I didn't put in there yet. And I guess I got to go through these. ID and reputation are correlated consistent behaviors over time on multiple channels.
Did you just make that up?
No. That's a quote of Greg, or it would be great if we could find a quote of Greg, but I remember hearing it before, and this was Ed's version of it.
Okay.
Can you put that in the document, or did you?
Yeah, I didn't yet, no,
Okay, but you will.
but I will.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to take the pictures, and
Thank you.
I'm going to actually retype the writing.
Okay. No, it's fine. Even just the picture is fine. It's just that we couldn't really see it when you were holding it up.
Right. But it would be good to put links in, like to put a link to the video where Greg explains this equation, which I'm not going to be able to explain very well. I'm just going to say it mixes the channels so that they're obscure.
I'll bet you that Patrick has that in his notes somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might even have it, but I'm pretty sure he would have it. I remember him saying that.
Yeah. But I was thinking that putting links all over the place to the videos where these things came up would be cool.
Yeah.
In the ebook.
It would be, yeah.
We could have a little video camera icon that you could click on to see where the idea was.
And do we want to also include other people's ideas? Like, remember that user feeds video, and there were certain sections of that where he just summed up really, really well certain things.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why not? I mean, that, where we started on this is we were going to gather ideas from the video. If we keep links to them, that would be cool, and it would help us complete the ebook, and that we've covered the stuff that is relevant. Now, the one thing is that there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of detail, and we sort of want to, give a a preface to everything that sort of gives people a small enough bite to get the overall picture.
Yeah, I totally agree. That would be great.
So Charlotte yelled at me. I didn't get any pictures of you, Leah.
That's right, you didn't. You're going to forget what I look like.
Yeah, I should have. It was my job to document everything.
To document the conversation by taking pictures. You can just reuse one of the ones from last year.
Oh, she probably wouldn't know the difference. Huh?
So how was your collaboration day, you two?
Awesome, and we spent a lot of time on something that may not hit the light of day for some time. I did broach it a little bit in there, but it has to do with my old holochain Lite project, peer-to-peer holochain.
Light, huh?
Yeah.
See, he doesn't like the name either.
So I guess you can install the Light client on your mobile phone, huh?
It runs in the browser.
Oh, that's even lighter.
Yeah.
We determined that there was a branding problem.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is the other main thing that it is an holochain front end. It's like Web3 for Ethereum, in the sense that how I envision it today is it has a DSL embedded or defined in Scala.js for Rolang functionality, which can do two things. It can submit transactions on the real holochain when it's available. Or should I say three things? Submit peer-to-peer transactions. And what I'm looking at and doing in the interim is running the contracts over holochain or something similar. And that involves integrating the social ledger with holochain. How do you like that? Looks like I'm going to be taking a break. Hello? Hello?
So, Kit, one of the things we talked about though is, had you heard of this before? Because I don't remember him ever bringing it up before, but he said he brought it up before, and nobody really was so interested in the idea.
I thought I was muted. By this, do you mean the ebook or?
Oh, sorry, no, just the front end piece that he was talking about, the holochain Lite to run in the browser.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's the first I'd heard of it too. So he said apparently people didn't like it. Maybe they thought it was more, he was trying to do something bigger or something almost competitive or whatever with our chain. So I think explaining it this way, I think it just wasn't explained very well. But I mean, I think it's a really cool project, but the BYOID is sort of a prerequisite for it. So it's kind of like, has to wait for that.
Yeah, I would think so. It's it's the key question. If you're going to have something light or heavy or whatever loaded in your browser, you need to have an identity. You need to log in. You need to,
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to be an entity of some sort.
Yeah, especially, and it's going to have, peer-to-peer transactions too, as well as pushing things to the R chain, actual blockchain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it's almost a chicken egg type thing, because I've also, in terms of the Bring Your Own Identity project, I've envisioned a wallet, and the wallet is synced to a blockchain, and which blockchain is not important, but that wallet, it functions like a cryptocurrency wallet. And so when you look at it, you see your different currencies. You see, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Monero and what else. But instead of being currencies with currency icons, it's actually identities with identity icons. And if you want to share one of them, then it's almost like sharing or spending some currency. You choose the identity, and then you choose what aspects you want to share, and then you share it with that third party, whatever it is. But in order to build that, there has to be some blockchain behind it, and that could be any of a number of things. But that's why I say it's sort of chicken and egg problem. And when I first started thinking about this, I thought, well, the R-chain blockchain is just years away, so we'll use something that's safe and trusted, like Ethereum or something, for the time being. Or we can set up something private, which is permissioned, and then only people who are playing in the BYOD project will be able to actually interact and change their identities and things like that. And then later, when our chain arrives, we can just migrate the stuff to a different blockchain. And so if it was cleverly built, it would be a fairly easy migration if everything was isolated.
Yeah.
And that was the thinking, okay, well, our chain will arrive someday, and in the meantime, we want to get an identity wallet working, and so we use another blockchain for the time being, and then later we plug in our chain.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, to make a light R-chain client, then there's no other blockchain. It's just R-chain. Well,
okay, but first the prototype would be on holochain, so it would be holochain light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then we would port it over to our chain when it's ready.
Yeah, actually, I haven't investigated holochain yet. I've been a bit overloaded this week, but it's on my list. And now that I know who Arthur Brock is.
Right, you were as confused as I was.
Yeah, now I'll take a look, and coincidentally I remember that somebody forwarded a tweet from him into the R-chain Slack, and I posted it in the chat here, and it's exactly what I think. I completely agree with it. I actually have tons of old friends who are only on Facebook, and I refuse to log in.
Yeah, I'm sort of like that too. I mean, I log in about once every 6 months, but
Yeah, I mean, I do have an account, but I avoid it like the plague. And I mean, only if I absolutely have to for some reason, then I log in and try to quickly, catch up with people or something. But most of my friends know that, yeah, it's just against my principles, and so they don't ask me to, join them or something. But
yeah.
other ones are more distant, old college friends I haven't seen in years or something, and I don't have a chance to explain the principles. And so I say hello to them, once every 6 months maybe. But actually, I'm falling behind now. I think it's more than a year.
That's pretty good. I wish I could make it. Okay, so I'm looking at this
Cartoon.
yeah.
It's really true. It's a walled garden.
Yeah. 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 No, but Jim said that holochain, actually, I guess it was Arthur Brock. I know there was one person in particular he was interested in talking to, but I don't remember the name. He said who had some very similar ideas to Greg, and that holochain has a similar vision to our chain in many ways, but it's permission. It's part of Hyperledger, so that would enable him to do, the peer-to-peer part as well.
Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting. It's nice that there's overlap there then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on a conceptual level, what's the, I don't know, conceptual, ethical, political level, I do like the R-chain standpoints and position and everything. So I tend to find a lot of the crossovers there, and every now and then Greg says something, and I kind of have the urge to raise my fist in the air and say, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
But there's so many overlaps and interesting things happening, and the social ledger, I find it really interesting, but I don't have time to invest in it really. I mean, I play with it a bit and I play along, so to speak, and make sure that I give Gary his likes and things like that, because he's really gotten into it. It's great, but I'm doing too many projects, and it's it's not going to change actually.
Yeah, you mean you never really get into the social ledger, or you just mean you'll always be doing too many things?
Yeah, I've got multiple projects going, and R-chain is one of them, and now it's starting to overlap into the social ledger. And while I could easily, invest time in improving the social ledger, but it's a step too far.
Well, I think it's good enough. I mean, it's just we have to make sure people are willing to invest the time to learn it, conceptually, and then just start using it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's exactly, I don't know, maybe it was an escape or something, but that's exactly what I thought in terms of how it's working. And I thought, well, this is pre-alpha software, and it really needs to be tested in a lean manner, which means we need some users to get in there and really put it through its paces, and then find the friction and find the glitches and all that. And that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah, actually, maybe we should have a bounty for that, because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there is an issue called social ledger trial, I think.
Yeah, I think
And
so. Yeah.
yeah, and that one has a budget on it somewhere, somehow.
Oh, it does. Okay, good. Yeah, so I mean, I think all the budget should probably go to just getting people to test it. Well, no, some of it should go to you and your work. I guess you haven't gotten anything for that yet, but
No.
we should talk to Jim about that.
Yeah. But I also have to say that I really do like the Bring Your Own Identity project, and I've learned some fairly it turned out to be important, if not critical stuff as part of that project that then came into play in other projects.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So that was a nice overlap, and that's the kind of synergy and synchronicity that I like to see happening. So I still want to participate in the Bring Your Own Identity, but as it overlaps into the social ledger and sociocracy and the hololedger and all these other things, then I'll probably draw the line there because it's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I think the focus on social ledger should really be number one, getting people to use it even though it's pre-alpha because it's, it's interesting, and then getting people to test it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim suggested that if I want to, I could set up a Mattermost domain for another project that I'm working on, and we could use it as a communication medium.
Uh-huh.
And I'm considering that. We use Telegram right now, which works really well, but it seems that Telegram is more popular in Europe than the States, because every time I say to an American, do you have Telegram? They're always like, oh, well, I guess I could install it. And it's funny because here in the Netherlands and in Europe in general, Telegram is like the most important information source. It's in some ways replaced Twitter.
That's amazing. I had no idea. Like, yeah, most people I think a lot of people here haven't even heard of it. I've only used it the same way I would use WhatsApp, just to, private chat. But I've never used the Telegram groups.
Ah, okay. Well, it's really the nice thing about it is it's much more focused than Twitter. In Twitter, it's kind of a fire hose of stuff. And, I mean, if you want to, you can create lists in Twitter, and I did that. And so I have a list for crypto things where if I only want to see crypto stuff, then I load that list and I scroll through it and everything. But sometimes I have the urge to make sub-lists within that list or something, and Telegram kind of does that for you, because I've got one Telegram group which is called Ethereum NL, and it's all about Ethereum, and it's all Dutch users, so it's in Dutch, but it keeps me totally up to date on Ethereum. And then I'm in other huge groups which are about Bitcoin and the future, and arguing about forks and this and that. And then there are small groups that are city based, and they're actually based around a meetup. So there's one for The Hague and one for Rotterdam, but I have friends in each of those, and I interact with my friends on those. And then there are project groups where certain projects that I'm involved in, they have their own Telegram group, and also ICOs. So I invest in ICOs sometimes, and they always have their own Telegram group, and that is the most up-to-date place to get information. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's probably on Twitter, but to find it on Twitter, you have to like sift through it all or search. And if you join the Universa Telegram group, there's an ICO started today called Universa, which is going to be a big player. And I posted about it in, oh, you're not in there, in the Discord. I should post that on Slack too. But they're definitely going for industrial strength, and they will be a frenemy of holochain, and their ICO starts today. So I'm in that Telegram group as well, and it's really become, for me, it's become an essential tool.
Yeah, I found that I am on some Slacks, and that they have Telegrams and Slacks. I guess some of them only have Telegrams now because of all the Slack problems, but they work together. So like I see the Telegram messages on Slack, and they see our messages. So
Yeah.
but I just but I should look around for some good Telegram groups. It'd probably be easier than Twitter.
Yeah, well, if you install it and then you typed in @crypto, then you'll find an index of crypto and blockchain groups, and it's kind of daunting how long the list is. But within there, you can definitely find some stuff that is interesting. And well, if the group over time is less than interesting, then you leave the group. It's quite open and free. And there's also the question of identity, because on Telegram, I don't use my real name. I'm in some groups where I really don't like the fact that someone could Google my name and, you know, find my entire track record. So I have a slightly obscured name where people who know me recognize the resonance, but people who don't know me don't see anything Googleable.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I would never recognize you probably.
So, yeah, well, that's always the problem. People have their avatars, and it's usually a photo from 10 years ago.
Say, I know Dan Connolly, but the picture is way too young.
Yeah. So that was Dan Connolly. Was he at the meeting, at the membership meeting?
I did not see him, and I should have. The people I asked didn't know Dan Connolly, so maybe I should have. I should have asked more people.
Kit knows him.
Well, he wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, right. That's right. Patrick knows him.
Yeah, I think I met. I met most of the people at the meeting, and what's his handle? On
DC Casey. DC Kansas City. So DC Casey.
Yeah, I thought that was him, but I wasn't sure.
But so he was at the meeting or not?
As far as I know, he wasn't at the meeting.
Okay.
But there could have been a Dan there that I.
Yeah, well, there's another Dan. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Because I KYC them. Well, on Thursday, it's been a busy week. On Thursday, there was an Ethereum Dev Network meetup in Amsterdam, and I went because I want to be networking with Ethereum developers. And I did a lightning talk about this other project that I'm working on. And in the process, I plugged holochain just to
Yay!
get it in the air. But it's kind of hard because people, they haven't heard of it. It's just, not on the airwaves yet. And I have to say that, especially when you're talking to Ethereum people, having Vlad Zamfir on the board of directors is a bomb. I mean, it's just, it's more than a feather, it's fireworks,
Yeah.
And I also used that yesterday evening. There was a meetup in Rotterdam, and that's just a sort of crypto meetup, kind of a hardcore, more trading than blockchain actually, but there's people from all types there. And again, I plugged blockchain, but every time I did, I dropped the name of Vlad to make it stick.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and it works. It's a huge plus.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's hard to. I experienced the same thing in introducing holochain. Very hard.
Yeah.
But Vlad, if they've heard of Vlad.
Yeah, exactly. If they know that name, then they're impressed.
Right.
Okay, well, we're going on 2 hours here, so I think I'm going to sign off before we cross that line.
Okay, yeah, we've just recorded like 45-minute personal conversation.
Is it worth listening to?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
45 minutes of babbling, but well, it's okay. Maybe somebody will learn something.
I heard my name at least once.
Yeah. We said, yeah, it doesn't matter. Couple things. But anyways, okay, Kit, we always keep you when we say we're going to let you go. So goodbye.
Okay, good luck. See you.
See you soon. Okay, so I think he's going to go learn about holochain. I am too. I still haven't learned about it, but I told him it was, you said, they had similar ideas to Greg. Was it Arthur Brock, the guy who has similar ideas to Greg? Okay, I just didn't remember the name.
I mean, there's a lot of people in that space of mimicking nature.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I attribute to Arthur Brock is really the metacurrency idea. And I guess my first introduction to him, I think, was in the video where he was talking about current C. You see something flow. Current C.
Yeah, I get it. But that, it's not going to work in every language.
Yeah. It's not so much a monetary thing with him. And I think that is a very insightful thing. It goes back to what I learned in the 70s was that from Murray Turoff, all systems have an economic basis.
Yeah.
And, and scaling, is something we haven't mentioned in the paper. I mean, the identities have to scale economically.
Right.
How is this done? And, we're sort of an example of it in that we have sponsors who are paying people to create identities. Not many right now, but it's something that can be sponsored.
What do you mean?
Easily.
Do you mean like the people for the private sale, or what do you mean?
No, I mean paying people to participate in the social ledger.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Just by joining us in any of our projects, they're being, yeah.
Well, the social ledger is is what you say and do. It's your on-chain identity.
You know what, Kit and I were talking about, there is a bounty, there is a budget assigned for the social ledger trial.
There
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think Kit has gotten anything for his work on that. So it would be good to pay him, and then it would be good to also have a budget for some people to test it and sort of work out all the little issues.
Well, we do, and I guess whoever we can pay through our chain, we can pay through our chain, but we have the other sponsored money we can pay.
Yeah, actually, that's something Brian could do. I mean, I don't know if he has time, but he could do it.
Well, if he's working on the social, he's going to be working on development of the social ledger.
Well, yeah, what I mean is when we pay people to use it and test it and try and break it, and then he can probably fix the problems that they identify.
Yeah, and well, yeah, we can work that out. Usually, Yo team is so responsive; it's hard to beat him.
Oh no! Okay, well then that's great.
The only thing is that he hasn't bought into necessarily all the features we want to develop.
Right.
The way we want to develop. He wants to do what he wants to do, so we'll have to maintain our own stuff.
Yeah.
And we're building UMA identity, and we're building sort of upside down BYOID in that everybody has a separate identity in all these communities, but from the dashboard point of view, it has to authenticate them in each one of them and keep track of all their identities as to what identity they have in what community.
Yep.
And that's our challenge there, really. As you navigate between the whole, the holonic chart, you're going between several different instances of Mattermost. Each one having its own account and its own OAuth authentication.
Yeah.
And Discord.
Oh, right. It's just, yeah.
So in Discord, people have servers. So you have to keep track of Discord servers.
Yeah.
And Mattermost servers. So instead of a unified identity, we have a conglomerate identity. But we're working toward a unified identity. So I probably should get going because at 3 o'clock I meet with Brian and I have to go pick up my eyeglasses.
Yeah.
Take a shower, and I'll take a shower.
Start on your to-do list, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, no, I think this is a good meeting. We got some things, came to some understandings about things, and Kendall got caught up and everything. So hopefully next week, Patrick will be here.
Right.
So,
the BYOID and the e-paper and the social ledger, all this stuff connects and goes beyond. I guess we'll probably have a separate social ledger thing.
What do you mean?
Developing, of authentication and the managing of multiple server identities in the social ledger is going to be sort of and the slash ID, for the UMA functionality should probably be, or maybe another separate meeting.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, Kit said that he's still interested in aspects of the BYOID, especially including the ebook and anything really where it overlaps with RChain, other RChain work he's doing. But he doesn't want to be part of the social ledger project. So I do think that should be a separate meeting. Maybe not a regular meeting, but occasional meetings.
I wonder, what his thoughts are on that. Oh yeah, there's a holochain meeting, and I got times mixed up, and I said it was okay. It's 10:30 on Tuesday.
So anyone can join?
Yeah, it's technically a collaboration between holochain and Digital Life Collective.
Oh.
But I don't see any reason why we can't add RChain to the mix.
Yeah, and actually you're part of the Digital Life Collective, and I could become part as well.
Yeah, join. You'll be the 101 member, I think.
Oh, that'd be cool. All right. So, okay. I guess get going, get your glasses.
Yep.
Come back, fix the problems. And we'll talk, I guess, Monday afternoon, right? That's still on, the Monday afternoon work session?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll see you then.
Okay, Leah. Nice not seeing you. I mean.
Okay, I tried to, I won't explain.
I know you have camera issues.
Yeah, okay. I actually tried today, though, and I'll try harder next time. Okay. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.